Hey, my name is Dylan. This is my commemorative speech for Surrey Community College, public speaking. Few teachers have been able to make as lasting impression on me as my third grade teacher did. Even fewer attempted to make an effort to understand what methods might have helped me learn my best. As a kid with way too much of an overactive imagination, one, I might add, that constantly hindered my ability to pay attention in class, it was only natural that most teachers would assume I wouldn't excel at school. That, however, couldn't have been further from the truth. I loved to learn, so much so that I would often grasp concepts being taught far quicker than most of my other classmates. Unfortunately, that often meant that as the rest of the class would march on with the lesson, I would often fall victim to my own ADD. The no-nonsense policy of most elementary school teachers I was faced with meant I would often land in detention because of it, or at least it would until I entered the third grade. Luckily, that year I was finally paired with a wonderful teacher that understood the source of my boredom. Not because of school itself, just a lack of something to focus on. She wanted the best for all of her students, and for me, that ended up resulting in a conference after class with her and my mom. Now, I know that doesn't exactly sound good right off the bat, but however, they took to discussing my specific challenges with classroom settings and why an altered approach might work better for me, along with what that might look like. The conclusion they reached was, albeit a bit strange, it worked to help keep my absent-mindedness in check, which was exactly what I had needed. From that point on, I was allowed to freely read in class as long as I could correctly give answers when asked. Throughout that year, for the first time in a while, I remained fully focused, both on my schoolwork and the entire wall of books at the back of the class. A wall of books that I actually completed reading within just a few short months. Up until that point, I had consistently managed to remain quite the disruptive force in school settings, but that one simple idea kept my mind on track and kept me concentrated on learning as I should, despite my overbearing ADD working against it. Instead of more and more useless detention time that kept me from class and actively studying, I was able to supplement my classroom education with reading, and I only have that teacher to thank for such a welcome change. Her determination to see me excel in her class helped to foster my passionate love for learning and for books, which meant I made my way to an 8th grade reading that level with relative ease, despite my initial setbacks. This enthusiasm for inspiring others was evident, both for me and for every student in her class. Thus, I am so very grateful to have been put in her classroom, as without her, I would likely still be hindering my education quite a bit. As this quote by Ignacia Estrada reflects, if a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way they learn. Truthfully, for some students, all it takes is an adjustment, a change of perspective or attitude. For some, all it takes is one compassionate teacher to give it his or her all to further your education and help you strive for more. With so many varied learning disabilities existing today, you would imagine such a teacher would be relatively commonplace, ready and willing to foster knowledge for the next generation. However, as with my case, this teacher stood out above the rest simply because she was so much more dedicated to this passion. What could have been a simple question, what will help you to focus better, was instead a worthless trip to detention time after time. Well, that is, until this standout teacher gave me the ability to do what suited me best. Even now, years later, I have continued to supplement my studying with other activities in order to remain on track, and it still works wonders. Simply put, I learned how to learn, and it was absolutely thanks to her.